YouTubers out there, this is Jerry the Movies with your host Jerry Saravia. So today we're going to very briefly discuss the latest controversy surrounding superheroes. Generally, there's not a whole lot of controversy that surrounds a new superhero movie unless it has something to do with the director or the writer, or in this case, the leading actor. And point one, Ben Affleck as Batman. Yes, this was announced a couple of days ago. Actually, during the night, I imagine, or sometime after 11 p.m. when I was not on the internet, so I didn't know about this news until the following day. So what do I think about this? No. Absolutely not. Ben Affleck has no charisma. Simple. None. Look at this photo from Daredevil. That's it. There's really nothing more to say. The guy just doesn't have it. Now, what's interesting is when I first started to notice Ben Affleck, it was back in the 1990s. He appeared in films such as Dazed and Confused. He had a lead role that actually worked in his favor in Chasing Amy, playing Holden. And so he started off doing those type of pictures. Chasing Amy, he did Dogma with, both of these with director Kevin Smith. Jersey Girl, which really isn't as bad as it's reputed to be. Let's see, there's a couple of others. Shakespeare in Love back in 1998, where he played a comical part as an actor, theatrical actor. Of course, he wrote Good Will Hunting. He co-wrote it with Matt Damon, playing a pal of Will Hunting from Boston. Now he's had a career as a director, but he did appear in films like Geely, which is really awful, and of course the obvious example, Daredevil, where he had the lead role as Matt Murdock, and it didn't work. I'm sorry, that role, he did not, he had the right height, perhaps, and the right body for it, but certainly overall, he didn't capture the role at all. Surviving Christmas, which is a tough movie to watch, even tougher than Geely. So if you can make it past the first 10 minutes, on my blog, or anywhere else that you see my reviews, you won't find a review of that one. Simply put, because I only saw the first 10 minutes of it. Jersey Girl and so on. But it isn't even, the fact that some of those roles came up, Sum of All Fears, where he's really no Harrison Ford as Jack Ryan, and he's not even Alec Baldwin as Jack Ryan. And both of them played Jack Ryan far better than Ben Affleck ever could. Not even the fact that he played George Reeves in a largely underappreciated film called Hollywoodland, where, of course, he gets to put on the Superman suit because that was one of the second actor to play Superman from way back, from the 40s and 50s. But it's just that he doesn't have the charisma. I mean, there are certain he has a laid-back persona. There are certain types of roles I think he can pull off. But in general, I see him more of as a character actor, but I don't really see him with a great deal of charisma. I just don't see it. And to play Bruce Wayne and Batman, because he's obviously going to have to play both in this new Batman vs. Superman movie, which is a sequel to Man of Steel, he looks, and the other problem I have is that there's no distinction between him and Henry Cavill. These two they look like they're the, two peas in a pod. There's very little dissimilarity between the two, if you really think about it. They both have almost the same height and the same build. It just, Christian Bale, of course, would have been the ideal choice, but he swore off doing any more Batman movies after the Dark Knight trilogy. And so that rumor about, well, he might have been paid $50 million, this is a rumor from an e-book about, I think it had to do with The Dark Knight Rises or something or other. And those were undetermined sources. The fact that if Christian Bale did a reprise of his role as Batman, he would have been paid $50 million, which is an incredible amount of money. But look at the amount of money Robert Downey Jr. has made off of doing Iron Man and the sequels, and also the Avengers, and now the Avengers Part 2. So, um, no, he is not the right actor for this role. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. I mean, I'm not upset by it. I don't care really. I'll see the movie, and you know, that's that. But he's not Bruce Wayne, and he's not Batman. I just don't see it. Now, what I did bring up in my blog, and of course some other people have brought up too, is that back in the day, in 1988, when it was announced that Michael Keaton was going to play Batman, you could have made you couldn't have made comic book fans more mad than they are at Ben Affleck playing this role. Um, the guy from Mr. Mom, from Beetlejuice, he's playing Batman. You got to be kidding! But he pulled it off, I think. As Batman, I thought he was merely okay. He wasn't bad. Bruce Wayne, he did that a little bit better. So let's backtrack a little bit, and I'm not going to go as far back as Adam West. We'll start with Michael Keaton. After Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer. Terrible. Couldn't pull off Bruce Wayne nor Batman. It just didn't work. Let's see. George Clooney, worse. A much better actor than Ben Affleck, but that proves that it doesn't matter how good an actor you are, it doesn't mean you can pull off every role you're offered. And even George Clooney agrees that he wasn't very good in that movie, and that's a terrible film, Batman and Robin. Christian Bale, though, I knew he could do Bruce Wayne because he had appeared back in 2000 in a film called American Psycho, where he played a very arrogant, wealthy businessman, or like a Wall Street stock trader of some sort. And he pulled that off beautifully, so I knew he could do it. And of course, he did it very well in the Dark Knight trilogy, and he was fearsome as the Dark Knight. So, here's the thing. If somebody's going to play Batman, let's consider who Batman is. Now, this is a guy who dresses up in a bat suit at night trying to catch criminals. Obviously, he has a little complex about bats. So this person, for lack of a much more, how can I put it, edifying or sophisticated way of putting it, the person has to be batshit crazy. You have to believe that that person would be to put on that suit. And you kind of saw that with Christian Bale. I don't think you saw it nearly as much with the other actors, but Christian Bale, somehow he pulled that off. Like, you believe that this guy could be nuts. So in that respect, here's who I thought, or I think anyway, should have played the Caped Crusader. Rufus Sewell. Rufus Sewell appeared in Dark City and a few other films. I think he's a British actor. He would have been perfect in that role. He's got the bulging eyes, and he has to act crazy, but there's also something about him. They can be very serene, his eyes. He has presence. He has charisma. He could have pulled that off. And if you needed anyway an older Batman, of course, I'm in my 40s, but Ben Affleck is around the same age, then pick Rufus Sewell. I mean, even pick Bruce Campbell. Nobody would have gone for that. But Bruce Campbell could have pulled it off. And also, there is a contrast between those two actors, especially Rufus Sewell and Henry Cavill. That's what you need. So, no. I vote thumbs down, but, of course, I'll see the film, and then I'll give my real judgment. But sometimes I feel I'm always right, at least in my opinion anyway. As when I voiced my concern about Andrew Garfield playing Spider-Man, and I was right. He just doesn't fit that role. But Andrew Garfield, I don't think could play Bruce Wayne or Batman either, so there. But when I saw the film, I said, no, this just doesn't work. He's not Tobey Maguire. He's not even the Peter Parker we knew from the comics. And Ben Affleck just doesn't fit that type. He just doesn't. So, proof positive. George Clooney, better actor, super actor, has done some really good roles, and he's directed some good movies too, just like Ben Affleck. But that didn't mean he could pull off the Caped Crusader. course, this came long before he really became involved in other types of films, you know, because Batman and Robin was in 1997, and Syriana came much later, post Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12, and all that stuff. So, anyway, my point is, I just am not prepared to see Ben Affleck doing it. Michael Keaton, you know, of course, he had presence. He's got those eyebrows. There's something about him that makes you want to watch him. And I don't get that same spirit with Ben Affleck. With all due respect, I liked him in Chasing Amy and other types of roles, as I mentioned, but I can't see him as this type of character. It would be like if somebody said Adam Sandler is going to play Batman. I know that sounds awful, but it's true. Adam Sandler could not play Batman. I mean, he just couldn't. Nobody would believe it. Rufus Sewell, my consideration. Rufus Sewell. But who's going to listen to me? I'm nobody. Those are my thoughts on Ben Affleck as Batman. Good God. I guess we'll wait till 2015 to see how that pans out, but I can't say I'm excited. Not one bit. But, hey, Henry Cavill works as Superman, I think. So, this is Jerry Demoonies with your host, Jerry Saravia, signing off.